brand is the perception I have about you. And that perception is built from the policies, your contracts you put in place, the proposals you send. It's the cold emails that get sent out. I like to use this example. If you have a physical location, how full are the garbage cans when I walk into your office? Because if I see that your garbage cans are overflowing, what it tells me, back of my mind, this is all subconscious, but back of the mind, it tells me, if you can't even manage taking garbage cans out, how are you going to manage a $100,000 project from me?
This is Jason Vana, a brand and content strategist who has created content that drove revenue and positioned brands as the premium choice in their industry even before social media existed. His clients typically see a 20% or more increase in their revenue after they implement his strategies. And in this episode of Useful Content, we talk with him about brand strategy and how to fix your backwards branding.
And what happens is a lot of companies, they build backwards. They build an offer or a product, then they look and say, who can we sell this to? Backwards.
Why you might be wasting money running ads.
Imagine spending $100,000 on advertising and making no money from it. But that, like most companies, especially small businesses, they're spending money doing stuff that if they had a brand strategy, they would immediately know that's actually not going to work for us.
And he shares with us two critical questions we must be able to answer if we want any hope of creating useful content.
You're not going to create content that really connects with people if you, one, don't know, and two, why. And most businesses can't answer those two questions.
And this is part one of 2 episodes with Jason. Part 2 comes next week. But today, let's make useful content. Teaching you to make useful content so that you can build long-term relationships with the people that matter to your business. Hello and welcome to Useful Content. And today we have a brand new teacher in our Useful Content classroom, Jason Vana. Hi, Jason.
Hey, really excited to be here this morning.
It's good to have you on. I have been following your content for a while now, and I could safely say I probably have downloaded more PDFs from you than any other creator. I have a whole library of a folder that should be labeled Jason right now, but it isn't. Everything you could possibly learn about brand strategy is in that folder, which is really, really great. So it's great to have you on, and it's good that you could come on to share some of your insights with the small business owners who will be listening to this. So Jason, could you please tell us what you do and how you help your clients make useful content?
Yeah, so I'm actually a brand and content strategist. So I run a brand positioning agency called Shift. And basically what we do is we work with small to medium-sized businesses to help them determine what's their unique value, kind of answering the question, why should an ideal customer buy from them when they can go on Google and find their competitors within 2 seconds? So what's that unique value? And then how do you live that unique value out throughout the company and marketing, sales, operations, product, everything that the company does. And so because we do brand strategy, a lot of our clients, the way to extend their brand in front of the right people is through content. And so we also do that content component, helping our clients like dominate on LinkedIn or really any kind of content. For a lot of clients, we'll do like, we'll take podcasts like this and make them into like bite-sized pieces, blog posts, email newsletters, basically creating content that their ideal customers want that pulls from their brand strategy and helps answer the question, why should I choose your company to work with? So that's kind of what we do.
It seems that a lot of companies end up in the space of content. But they start in different places. So one might start, let's just say, in marketing or in video production. But a lot of people end up inside of repurposing content, distribution, how you use it, all those different things. Why did you choose to start in brand strategy?
So we chose to start in brand strategy, one, because I have been in the marketing realm for about, I guess now it's like probably 25 years, something like that. And in all the marketing positions I've been in and helped some of these businesses as an employee, generate more revenue, get found out more. What we realize is like a lot of companies, especially in the B2B space, they focus marketing on just trying to get leads. And it's all campaigns. It's all like, even the content. Like if you look at most B2B content, it's, we landed this new client. We landed this new contract. We hired a new person. It's like all this stuff that an ideal customer doesn't really care about. And so with every company that I was a part of as an employee, and even as we started Shift, and really before I started Shift, I was just creating content on LinkedIn to find a new job. Really was the why I started creating content. And I had all these founders coming to me saying, hey, I don't understand marketing. We've tried it. We've run some ads. We've done stuff. Nothing seems to be working. We need help. And really what came down to, like, you're not going to create content that really connects with people if you, one, don't know who it is you're targeting, and two, why they should want to work with you. What's that unique value you bring to the market? And most businesses can't answer those two questions. Those two questions are the core of brand strategy. What's that unique value we're going to bring to the market that makes us stand out amongst all of our competitors? And who are we trying to attract? Who are those ideal customers? Not your target market, but who's that subset that's like, man, if we had 100 clients just like this, our business would be thriving. We would enjoy it. Our employees would love to work with our clients. Like, we've all had those horror story clients where you took them because you needed the revenue. It was money, but you're like, oh my gosh, if I ever have another company like this, I just want to shut my company down and be done. Like, I never want to work with them again. We've all had those. And that's a sign that you don't know who those ideal customers are. And so everything in marketing, especially when it comes down to content, everything revolves around, or should revolve around, a solid brand strategy. Who are you going after? And what's that unique value that you bring to the market? Once you can answer those questions, everything else becomes easier.
So Jason, I'm curious. I know your primary platform is LinkedIn. So what do you get asked the most about being able to create content on the platform? What is the number one LinkedIn content question?
Like, I get people asking me all the time because I primarily create content on LinkedIn. And so a lot of people will ask me, I've been consistent on there for 5 years. So the number one question I get is, how do you keep coming up with content for 5 years and not get bored? And I'm like, well, one, who says I'm not bored? If you actually go through all of the content I've created on LinkedIn, I'm not recycling in way of taking an old post and reposting it, but it's the same topic. It's the same theme. It's know your ideal customers, know your unique value. Here's how you find it. I talk sometimes categories. It all comes though from a deep understanding of my customers. It's questions they're asking me. It's questions that when I sit on discovery calls, prospects will ask me, well, do you guys do this? Or, hey, what do you think about this? Or when I do clarity calls, which are kind of just 1 hour calls with companies to kind of just help them solve one specific problem, questions that come up, I'm like, if you're asking, there's probably 100 other people that have the same question, but just don't know who to ask or are afraid to ask. And so that deep understanding of my ideal customers is what drives my content. It's why someone like you, like, you're not the only one that has said, I've downloaded almost every single one of the PDFs that you put up on LinkedIn. I hear that all the time, that my PDFs, and really when I look at it, like, I guess you can't really see it on LinkedIn, but the few that I've shared on Instagram, I can see the bookmark numbers on Instagram. People download it because it's content that was geared towards them. And that's the key to creating good content, is understanding what actually matters to your ideal customers. And so that's kind of why we start on that brand strategy side.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I I know about those nightmare clients, about people who you get that you wish you didn't have. That has happened, but you're kind of thinking that, and that's like a challenge that a lot of business owners they face, where they're thinking, "Oh, I need money now, right?" And okay, what? I don't have time to do all this brand stuff. I just need money now. And I can see the conversation. Probably you've had this conversation where, well, if you do this way, then it will mean that you have a lot of money, but it takes it takes time. So how do you frame that for someone who feels like, if I focus on building this brand, it's probably going to crash my business? How do you frame that for someone?
So for a lot of prospects, when they come to us and they're like, "Hey, we kind of need revenue now," like, or the business is shutting down. Like, I had one client of mine that's like, "If I don't start making money soon, I'm going to be eating cat food because the money is running out." So I mean, like here's the thing when it comes to brand strategy. A brand strategist is always going to tell you this is the foundation of your business. If you know your ideal customers, you know your unique value, like, it answers all of the questions for your business. What marketing should I do? Well, if I know my ideal customers, like, let me give you an example. One of our clients, they are in the food processing equipment manufacturing space. So they make equipment for like Tyson Foods, as an example. In that industry, 90% of decisions are made through Google and there's like one or two magazines, like industry magazines, that every decision maker is subscribed to. It sits on their desk. They actually flip through it. Now, if you would have told me 10 years ago that their main marketing budget should go to magazine advertisement, I would have laughed at you. In fact, I've even seen people on LinkedIn say print advertising is dead. I'm like, I know a client that makes millions through print advertising because it's what works for their industry. And that's what I mean by, like, if you understand your ideal customers, those decisions, should I do Google ads? Should I be on LinkedIn? Should I do trade shows? Those answers are going to be those questions are going to be very easy to answer because you know your ideal customers. So it is the foundation. But I'm also a business owner. So I know that state where it's like, I need money. And like that is a reality that I think some of what I call the brand strategy purists, they're the ones that are like, I'm not going to debase myself and say you should do other things. Like, you need to. So a lot of times for clients, what I'll tell them is, you kind of need to do a mix right now. Do some Google ads, do some paid ads that are going to capture existing demand. So Google is a great platform where, like, we run ads on Google. People that don't know Shift yet, they haven't seen my content, if they are out there looking for a brand strategy or a brand design, I want to show up. I want to be part of, I want to be in the results as they're searching. And so I tell people, run Google ads. Now, Google ads will be easier once you know your messaging and you know your audience. And yes, but if you need leads now, start doing some paid stuff and work on your brand at the same time. There are short-term tactics like advertising, and then there's the long-term tactics, which would be like brand that extends in through content. And what happens is, a lot of companies, they build backwards. They build an offer or a product, then they look and say, who can we sell this to? It's backwards. But that's how most companies are done. And so looking at that, really what I would say is, when you build that way, the predominant kind of strategy that people use is, we're going to build a product, we're going to hire a sales team, we're going to do some cold ads, we're going to do some cold emails, we're going to run some paid ads, and they start getting clients. And it's like, okay, well, this works. The problem is that outbound stuff, outbound marketing, outbound emails, anything sales does has diminishing returns. Meaning, if your whole business is run on, I'm just going to run paid ads so that I get people to buy, there's diminishing returns on that. the more you do it, the less results you're going to see. And over time, like all of these platforms increase their prices. So now it costs you more to acquire a company because you're doing paid ads. Where brand comes in, brand is the side that says, like, I use this as an example. Let's look at Apple. This product, the iPhone, is not the best technological phone on the market. There are phones that can do far better and far more than an iPhone. But an iPhone continues to outsell every other smartphone. People will line up around the block to buy it. They will wait in line for hours in order to get an iPhone. You don't see that with the Samsung. You don't see that with a Google phone. You see that with an iPhone. That's the difference. Apple doubled down on their brand and said, we're not going to do, I mean, they still do ads. You still see commercials, but they're not doing short-term gimmicks to build the business. They said, we're going to double down on the brand. It's why MacBooks are aluminum and not plastic, because they want you to feel like this is a premium product. It looks creative. Like I'm an eye whore. I have everything Apple except the Vision Pro, because that's like,
yeah.
I don't even like social media. I'm not going to do virtual reality. But anyways, everything else of theirs,
wait. Spatial computing. Let's get it right. Spatial computing.
Okay, spatial computing. another brand tactic right there. But
Yeah.
I'll walk into a coffee shop and pull out my MacBook, and it's like, people know. And this is what they've done well, is when you pull out a MacBook, you kind of know, okay, that person's a creative person. They're probably working on some video or some design or whatever. Like, that's the persona that they've built around their brand, that like these creative, like game changers, they think differently. Like, those are the people that buy Apple. And so it's an identity connection. And that's so kind of circling back to your question, that's what I tell my prospects and my clients is like, yes, you do still need to do marketing. You still need to run paid ads and stuff and know how that fits into the strategy. But if you aren't doing the brand stuff, you're going to spend more money on ads, get diminishing returns, and you won't have that line of people that are like, I want to work with you because you resonate with me. You're the brand I want to buy from. You're the person I want to work with. Most of my clients, especially if they've come through my content. Now, I do have clients that come through Google, so they are looking at other competitors and they're vetting it out because they don't know us yet. They don't know us until we get on the discovery call and we do the sales cycle. So that's a little different play. But when they come in through like my content, they come in inbound. I don't have to really sell them. Really what they're asking is, okay, show me your process. And I put all of our pricing on our website. So we don't even have to talk pricing. They know the pricing, but we talk, here's the process. When I say brand, this is what I mean. When I say you're getting a brand guide, let me show you what's in that brand guide. So you get a better understanding of like what all this is. And they close, because when they think brand, they think Jason Vana, and that's who they want to work with. That's like the goal of brand, is when I think I need, like I like to use this as an example. If I say bottled water, what company comes to mind?
Well, for me, Fiji. That's what comes to mind.
Okay. So there's a reason why Fiji is the first one in your brain. They have and I don't know if they've actually done this, but the fact that it comes to mind is a sign that they've done. They know who they're for. They've developed a brand that is attractive to you. It's not just the label and the color and the name. It's also the quality of what they do. It's where it's located. It's how convenient it is. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it, but that's the goal of a brand. Is when I say, manufacturing, what's the first thing that comes, when I say shoes, when I say like a CRM, when I say any of this kind of stuff, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That doesn't happen through paid ads. That happens through brand. And if you want to be the brand that when people think, I need this solution, if you want to be the first one that comes to mind, that is 100%. You need to build your brand more so than any kind of marketing tactic you might do.
That's good. And I'm glad you gave that very comprehensive overview. And that's a bold statement, is saying that when people say brand, they have to think of Jason Vana. They have to think of Shift. That's a bold statement. And you can make that statement because you're actually doing the work to make that happen. And that's a very critical thing. And I'm glad that you've admitted as well that you run ads. It's not all magic, that you sometimes have to take deliberate steps in order to get certain types of leads in, and that's good for people to know as well.
It really comes down to knowing your ideal customers. Like what I've done with researching my ideal customers, the people that I want to work with, the businesses I want to work with, what I have found is they either don't know that they need brand help yet. Like it's not a solution in the top of their mind. They think that they need a new lead magnet, a new sales funnel. Like that's kind of the stuff that comes top of mind when they need help. And so from the LinkedIn standpoint, I'm educating people that, hey, your business problems are a brand problem. And so I'm showing them this is how it works. This is like what you need to be thinking about. And that just kind of creates demand. Oh, I realize that I can't answer these questions, so I need brand help. What I've also found is when they do know they need brand help, one of the first places they go is Google. I'm going to look for brand agencies. I want to look at some stuff that they've created. I want to see that they've worked in industries similar to mine and stuff like that. And so, the reason I'm doing paid Google ads is I know that customer journey for my ideal customers. And so if you don't know that, you can run Google ads. Now I've worked with a client that ran Google ads for a year, spent over $100,000 and got $0 return from it. Imagine spending $100,000 on advertising and making no money from it. But that, like most companies, especially small businesses, they might not spend $100,000 on it, but they're spending money doing stuff that if they had a brand strategy, they would immediately know that's actually not going to work for us. Like our clients don't spend time there. So why would we run ads there? Or like the example I gave earlier, they might look at it and be like, why would I run a magazine ad? That's really expensive. Like if you want to talk premium ad space, try being in a magazine. Like you're talking sometimes $1,500 a pop just for one ad. That's a big, and our client runs like 30 print ads every month. So like think of the ad spend for that. They would not have done that if we didn't do the research and understand this is how your clients make decisions. So you can run LinkedIn ads all you want and you will get $0 from it. Or you can spend more money, run magazine ads, and you can make millions from it because you're right in front of the right people at the right time. And that's what brand strategy does. Where do I need to be in front of the right people?
Yeah, that's good. And as somebody who came from a printing background, because I was trained in print and I did press operation, I know that it gets expensive real fast, especially for the high-end magazines. So like if you want spreads or things of that nature, it gets really expensive real fast. But if you're making millions from $1,000 investment, it just makes sense because you know, right? You just know. Which makes me think, is there ever a time when it's too late to do a brand strategy? When it's like it's too far gone, it doesn't make sense? Or can it always be pulled back?
I would say the only time it would be too far is like the business is ready to close its doors. If you don't have the revenue to like implement a brand strategy, it's probably too late. More often than not, though, I tell people it really isn't too late because a brand strategy really is like, in fact, let me say it this way. Most of my clients already have a brand. They already have a product out there. They've already been somewhat successful with it. they're either in transition, so new leadership, they're trying to break into a new market, they have a new product line, something that's like, okay, our existing brand isn't going to work for this, or they're like new leadership, those kind of transitions, or they are stagnated growth. We've been, like right now I'm meeting with a industry leader. It's a SaaS product for the medical field. And they're the industry leader. They were the ones that pioneered this. This kind of product never existed on the market before. Now they've got competitors because they blazed the trail and stuff like that. And the reason they're looking for a new brand strategy is they've been the market leader for so long. And when you are the market leader, it's very easy to stagnate and just kind of rest on your laurels. And now you've got some of these upstarts that are coming, and it's like, if we don't do something, they're going to knock us out. So we still have to innovate. We still have to be unique. We still have to, be the ones that lead the charge. And so we're putting together a package for them to like do like a brand audit, brand strategy, some new brand design, some new materials and stuff like that, because they realize if we don't change, the competition is going to overtake us. And so even a category leader, it's never too late to do this. We've worked even down to solopreneurs that are like, okay, I've got some clients, but this isn't really the business I wanted to build. I need better clients. I need to go up market. I'm working with clients that nitpick every single thing I do, and they don't trust you, and they see you more as a vendor than a partner. And like, how do I change that? That's all brand strategy, to change that perception, because brand, and I think this is where most people struggle, is they don't know what a brand actually is. They think it's the logos, fonts, colors. They think it's something you build. It's not. A brand is the gut feeling that people have about you, your business, or your product. It's something people own, you don't own. You can influence it. So if I want to come across as, like for me, for our clients, on almost every single discovery call, one question they ask is, are you the type of agency that's going to kick back on us and force us to like get out of our heads and challenge us? Or are you just a yes man? And I'm like, I'm freaking Sassy Jason. I will tell you that you're making a dumb choice. Now I'll be nice about it, but I'm going to tell you so I know that about my ideal customers. This is kind of how brand works. In order to build that perception that Jason is not just going to be a yes man and be like, okay, I know this is going to hurt your business, but I'm going to tell you to do it because I don't want you to like take your money away from me. You take your money away from me, whatever. It's your money, your business. Make that stupid decision. And I'll say that. But what I've learned is that with my LinkedIn content, why Sassy Jason is a thing is that sassy, sarcastic, like call out the stupid stuff people do. It builds this perception in people's minds. This is a guy that is not scared to say when something isn't right, even when the majority of people believe it. So I will get marketers on my content all the time being like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. This is backwards. And I'm like, I don't care what you say. This is right. You've been trained incorrectly on how to think about brand. Like I did a post, this was probably a few years ago, where I said, most companies should have a chief branding officer, and that chief branding officer should sit between the CEO and the rest of the C-suite, because brand is not a marketing tactic. It's not let's just pick some colors and some nice messaging to put on our website. Brand is, what product are we developing? What are our policies? Like if a client, I use State Farm as an example of this. It's not B2B, but State Farm, everyone knows their jingle, the brand strategy they're trying to build is like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Unless you have 3 strikes, then they say, we can't insure you anymore. Get the hell out. And we've seen that. Like it happened with my mom. Her house has been insured by State Farm since 1960. There were 0 claims on the house, except in the last 5 years, there were 3. And State Farm said, we can't insure you anymore. Imagine, like, you can say all you want, you're a good neighbor. To me, State Farm is the most
Wow.
unneighborly of a company for doing that. Like in what is that, 60 some years, we've had to pay out a little too much in the last few years, so we can't work with you anymore. That's not a good neighbor. Their policy created a perception in me that does not match what their marketing
Yeah.
says. So when people say brand is a marketing tactic, I'm like, you don't get it. Brand is the perception I have about you. And that perception is built from the policies, your contracts you put in place, the proposals you send. It's the cold emails that get sent out. It's the, I like to use this example. If you have a physical location, how full are the garbage cans when I walk into your office? Because if I see that your garbage cans are overflowing, what it tells me back in my mind, this is all subconscious, but back in the mind, it tells me, if you can't even manage taking garbage cans out, how are you going to manage a $100,000 project from me? You can't even take garbage cans out. You can't handle what I need you to handle. Everything you do, brand, I love this. Brand is more about what you do than what you say or what you look like. And that's the piece most people get wrong. And so, kind of circling back to what I initially started with, that's why I do this sassy content and why I will share like hot takes, if you want to put it that way. Like, marketing or branding is not a marketing tactic. And it pisses off so many marketers because they're like, well, I own the brand for the company. I'm like, well, then your company is like, you should not own the brand. The brand should be above marketing so that it can influence finance. It can influence every department, operations, everything within the company. The reason I say that is my ideal customers want someone that says, I know you think of it this way, but that's going to lead to this, this, and this. If we think about it this way, it's actually going to get you where you want to go. So that personality is an extension of the brand strategy. I know my ideal customers. I know the unique value I'm bringing to the market, and my personality backs that up. It supports all of that. And that's kind of how all of this works.
That's good stuff. I agree with everything that you said. And I think that people do get it backwards. In fact, when I talk to people about brand, I don't refer to myself as a brand strategist, but when I talk to people about brand, what I say is that a brand is the thing that people don't forget about you. And the reason I say it that way is for that very reason, is that if you come into the office, the garbage bins are filled, the trash is filled, and it's falling out onto the floor, people look around and they remember that, and then they go away with a perception that they can't even organize their internal stuff, what's going to go on with my contract. And so you're very right, is that it's not the, okay, and that's one of the questions that I think that has to be answered. Like, people put a brand marketer and a brand strategist in the same category, and they're supposed to be different. Yes or no? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So a brand marketer is more someone who takes the brand strategy, and it, in my head anyways, and other people will disagree with me, but a brand marketer is the one that kind of sits between the brand strategist and the marketing team and kind of creates marketing that the goal isn't leads. The goal is, I want to build the perception. So Airbnb is doing this really well. Like, they built out a new brand strategy. This was back in 2019. And they switched their marketing from performance marketing to brand marketing. So instead of like, hey, book a time with us, all this, like, it's chasing you around the internet and crap. Most of their ads now, like, I love the one they're doing currently, or at least the most recent one I've seen, where it's kind of animated, but it's a husband, wife, and a kid in a hotel room. And they're like, if you share a hotel room, your kid's bedtime is also your bedtime. But if you rent an Airbnb, they can go to bed and you can still be up. And that's it. That's the ad. And it's like, and obviously it's like, it shows Airbnb and stuff, but that is telling a story of like, yeah, If I have a family and I don't want to go to bed at the same time as my kid, like that's a feeling of like, man, there's freedom in that vacation time where my kids can go to bed and we can still be up and active. Like that is brand marketing. Brand strategy is, okay, we're going to figure out what is that unique value you're bringing to the market. How does that unique value change your offer? And that's the piece a lot of people don't like, because a lot of businesses come in, I've got a good offer. And it's like, well, if this is the value you're bringing, your offer needs to change. And I did this recently with a communications company. They are a communication strategist for a strategy company for nonprofits. And it was just like every other communications agency out there. Like they provided the same stuff. Even some of their website like sounded the same. And I'm like, we need to figure out why people choose you. What we discovered was what makes her unique is that she has a lot of connections to take these nonprofits and get them connected to an individual or an organization that can elevate the nonprofit. So for example, two of her clients, she's connecting to Kamala Harris. Like, okay, tell me if I'm a nonprofit that deals with like voter rights and stuff. Being connected to the vice president of the United States isn't going to just elevate your nonprofit exponentially. None of her competitors can do that. So what we did is we looked at her offer and said, look, you've got a decent, like you're doing comm strategy, decent offer. But what if we highlight the fact that, and we basically what we did is we restructured her offer and said, you're not doing comm strategy anymore. You're selling the connection. And so your offer, you don't need to do a full comm strategy. You don't need to do content creation. What you need to do is figure out what information do I need from my customers in order to connect them to the right people. And everything on her website, like we still haven't redone the website yet. We just finished this like a week ago. But like we're adding a section on her website of like, these are the like connections. These are the people that I can connect my clients to. And we're going to put logos in there of like Kamala Harris's logo is going to be on there. And some of the organizations that she can connect you to are on there, just reiterating and standing out. You're not just a comms agency, you are a connector. And so we had to revamp her whole offer to fit around that unique value. Most people, most business owners, most founders, they don't like when you try tinkering with the offer, but your offer is probably the biggest brand, the biggest piece that influences your brand is your offer. If your offer is crap, I don't care how great your marketing is. I don't care how great your messaging is. People will walk away and be like, they're liars. Like I look at State Farm. I don't care how great that jingle is, how awesome your ads are. You're a crap insurance company and you will always be a crap insurance company in my mind. Now, is that going to hurt them that Jason Vana doesn't want to work with State Farm anymore? No, let's be honest. They're a big company. But if you're a small business, one or two people that go through your product and have a very bad perception of it, I'm talking about a bad experience I had on a podcast. People do that. You are 100 times, I actually forget the number, so I shouldn't say that, but you are far more likely to talk about a bad experience than a good experience. This is why brand is so important. This is what makes a brand marketer is more, how do I take the brand and apply it to marketing? Where a brand strategist is, we have to look at your offer. We look at like hiring practices. If this is your unique value, you've got the wrong people. So for some of our clients, we've even said, look, if you want to be this premier, like we had one client that was a software company. They developed software for manufacturing machines to tie everything together and make your operation like run more smoothly. And one of their key differentiators is we understand the business behind the software. So we know like, we're not just going to give you a nice piece of software that looks pretty and works well. We're going to have it tied to your business goals and have it understand like how if we install this, is it going to impact your bottom line? And how is it going to make things flow better and make your operations better? So what they do is, we said, like, you're only going to hire top level developers who understand the business side. Now that means they're probably going to have to pay far more for their software developers than a startup that can like outsource and be like, I just want it to look like this. Yeah, they're going to be more expensive, but that perception of any one of our developers can sit down with your team, figure out exactly based on your business goals, exactly what needs to happen and build what needs to happen. That's a brand perception. And that is a hiring thing. That's not a marketing thing. And that's what people don't understand about brand is it isn't just a marketing thing. It is, who are you hiring? What do your invoices look like? What is your offer? What is your sales team doing? Do you even need salespeople? Maybe you don't. One of our clients, we took their outside sales team from 7 down to 2 and said, you don't actually need outside sales, because the way people buy, they want application specialists. They don't want a normal salesperson that's like, here's the widget. Do you want it? They want someone that can come in and say, here's the real problem in your business. Here's the full solution. Now I can get you a proposal and get that sold for you. They want someone that comes in and solves the problem for them before they buy. Well, you don't want a normal salesperson then. You want an application specialist who happens just to do sales. And so that's a brand strategist. And a brand marketer is, how do we market and build brand awareness? Huge difference between the two.
I realize, Jason, that I don't know how much time you have.
I've got a little bit more time.
I mean, you've been firing on all cylinders, for real. No doubt. I may have to split this into two, because I know one of the things we came in today to talk about was differentiation, and I know we've been talking about brand strategy, so we haven't gotten to differentiation yet. But it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I love this. I love the fact that you're giving so much insight into how the thing works, because a lot of people don't know how it works. The vast majority of people, you ask them about brand, they think what you can see, what you can hear, what you can touch. They think all of these tactile, visual things, and they don't think about, what was my ICP. They don't think about the things you're talking about there. So this is good education for small business owners, so that they can put themselves in a position to say, okay, I really do need this. This will make a difference in my business. This will actually move the needle for me if I'm not getting enough leads, revenue, profits, etc. This will make a difference. So I'm glad that you're saying this so people can really get behind it, because a lot of people think they need more ads, or they need a better product, or they need, the marketing team is not working hard enough, or something of that sort, when that may not be the core of the problem. So this will help them reposition their mind to say, well, maybe we need to look at our actual brand and see what needs to get adjusted there. So that's good stuff. That's really, really great stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, can we talk about differentiation and get into some of that? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I don't know, this is the first time this has happened. Actually, this is the second time this has happened. But the first time was planned, where this is a whole show, and then we're going to probably do a smaller show, which I'll release separately. So I'm going to have 2 Jason Vanas, which is great.
Woo! Love that.
Overload of Jason. Thanks for staying to the end, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion between Jason and I. And in case you missed it, this is part 1 of 2 with Jason. The second part on differentiation is coming next week. See you then. The Useful Content Podcast is brought to you and produced by Relate Studios. You can see the work we do on our website at relatestudios.com. If you like what you've heard on the podcast today, please follow and come back in 2 weeks for another great episode. And if you want to get more useful content in between that, you can follow me, Juma Bannister, on LinkedIn and on Twitter. We all know it's still Twitter. See you soon in the Useful Content Classroom.